Alright, here we're going to be uh, working on our problems where we're solving with exponents. Now you'd notice that we have the exact same base and exact same power exponent on both sides. For that to be true, our answer is any number. We can put in any number we want to for the x. So this would be all real numbers. Okay, because anything we put in for x on this side is going to give us the exact same thing on this side. So all real numbers would be the answer to that. Alright, number 4. Now here we need to get the same base. So we're going to make it to get to the base of 2. So 2 to the what power gives us 16? 2 to the 4 power. So we'll end up with this. So now that we have the same bases, we can just put the exponents equal to each other. So we have x plus 1 is equal to 4, x plus 2. Okay, we're going to distribute here. We're going to distribute the 4 through. So that we end up with x plus 1 is equal to 4x plus 8. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. You can move. Oh, let's move the x over here. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I end up with 1 is equal to 3x plus 8. Okay, now I'm going to move the 8 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. So I end up with 1 minus 8. They have different signs, so I end up subtracting, take the sign of the larger absolute value. So I end up with negative 7 here is equal to 3x. And then finally we would divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to negative 7/3. Okay, but the key concept here is that we got to get the same base. Now once we get the same base, then we can put the exponents equal to each other. Alright, number 6. Again, get the same base. I have a base of 4. Can I make 16 in the base of 4? Yeah. 4 squared gives me 16. Now we could actually use the base of 2 as well, but we'd change this. So to kind of save a little bit, I'm not going to change that. So let's just have 2x plus 1 is equal to 4x plus 1. Let's distribute the 2. So we get 2x plus 2 is equal to 4x plus 1. Okay, combine like terms. Now we can move anything we want to the other side. I'm just going to go ahead and move the 2x. Okay, now when I do that, I end up with 2 is equal to 2 is equal to 2x plus 1. Okay, subtract 1 from both sides, and we end up with 1 is equal to 2x. Okay, and then we divide both sides by 2, and we ultimately end up with 1/2 is equal to x. Alright, here we have number 8 off the homework. Okay, got to get the same base. So I'm going to leave 3 alone, and I'm going to say 3 squared gives me 9. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 times 2 to the x plus 1 is equal to 5x minus 1. Distribute the 2. So I end up with 4x plus 2 is equal to 5x minus 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract this. The reason I'm doing that is just to keep the variable positive over here, but we could have moved the other way. But anyway, we end up with x here minus 1 is equal to 2. Add 1 to both sides. So we end up with 3 is equal to x. So that's our answer for this. X is equal to 3. Alright, now for question 10, we have inequalities. Now the difference between inequalities with the exponents and not is just you have to be careful and remember that when you multiply or divide with a negative across an inequality, you have to reverse it. Okay, now let's check. We have the same base, so we simply just bring this down as x is less than or equal to 3x minus 1. Okay, now with this, I'm going to move the 3x over this way. So I say minus 3x. Okay, so I end up with 2x here, negative is less than or equal to -1. Now this is where you have to be careful. I'm going to divide by -2. So that -2 is moving across the inequality. When I do that, the inequality has to reverse. So I end up with x is going to be greater than or equal to, okay, I end up with -1 over -2, okay, or -1 divided by -2, and I'm going to write that as a fraction, but they're both negative, so that it ends up being positive 1/2. So x is greater than or equal to 1/2. Alright, let's look at 12 here. Now with 12, okay, we're going to get the same base. Well, I've got 2 over here. I want to make this 2. So let's have 2x plus 3. Okay, 2 to the what power gives me 16? 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So 2 to the 4th power. So we end up with this. We end up with x plus 3 is less than or equal to 4 times 4 minus 2. Now we're going to distribute, again, this 4. So we get 16x minus 8. Okay, and then over here we have x plus 3. Now, you can move them whichever way. Typically, I like the variable on the left, if at all possible. So let's go ahead and subtract 16 from both sides. Okay, so when I do that, I end up with negative 15x. Bring down the plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 8. Okay, now we'll subtract 3 from both sides. So we end up with negative 15x is less than or equal to, now I have negative 8 minus 3, so it's going to be negative 11. Okay, because I'm subtracting from a negative, so I'm making it more negative. Alright, now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 15. Okay, now this is key here. I'm dividing by negative, okay, across an inequality, so that means I have to reverse the inequality. Okay, so I end up with x is greater than or equal to 11 over 15. I'll make it positive since they were both negative. Double negatives makes a positive, so we know that x is greater than or equal to 11 over 15. Alright, here we have 2 and we have 8. So we're going to get 8 in terms of 2 as our base. Our base is going to be 2, so that we can match up our base. Okay, 2 to the 3rd power gives us 8, so I'm going to have x plus 5. Now, hopefully you're seeing the pattern here. I'm going to go ahead and distribute this time, so I don't have to write out as much steps. So it's 4x is greater than or equal to 3x plus 15. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and move the 3x over, so subtract 3x. Okay, so I end up with x is greater than or equal to 15. Okay, so with this, we have solved for our inequalities and with equal signs. Now, just remember the key part here is you got to have the same base to undergo the operations that we've done.